I have to use the skills that I have available to me. Up until 1999, my life was perfect. My life was wonderful. What did he say? You need to attack me at Mass, and I'm going to do this on my own. I don't know if you're familiar with this kind of legend. I've been sitting in on YouTube all night. I found this man, heroic man, that he calls it a killdozer, but he didn't kill anybody, which was even more epic to the tale. Gentle and slow destruction. This man's a hero to me. I had a wonderful life up until the age of 26, and now I'm 34. I had a decade of my life, and it's not going to stop. Like, it wouldn't stop for this man. They'll destroy you in every way, man. And they'll know everything about you down to your plumbing. You know what I mean? And that's where they started. They got him on the plumbing in the very first place, in the sewers, and they know everything about you down to your plumbing, and they'll destroy you every way. Ways people don't know about. Your mind, your soul, your afterlife, your birthrights, your grandmother's care in the afterlife. I have to use the skills that I have available to me. But first we start with beer and teaching the Pope. This is what I have to do. Get my dozer and just drive it straight into the place where it's supposed to go. Up the Pope's ass. And his silly self-mocking hat. And his gorgeous gown, which is pleasing to the Lord, but not really pleasing because it's a bit of a vinegar pleasing. He doesn't even know what he's doing. So this is my cassette. I'm sending you Frankie, and I hope you hear it. I'm in the Kildos right now, and I'm coming right for you like your Jericho. So Frankie, when the Roman Empire, killed Jesus, and the Hydra effect took off like the Medusa thing, and it was the sword of Alicia, and it was consuming the earth. He was surfing it a bit, because he had followers. He wasn't so cheated. Although you think Jesus might have been absolutely condemned, he had many followers, like 50,000 or something. He had lots of people following him by the time he died. And afterwards, and even again, and people were saying, they say, you converted me to Christianity. They were going around being a bit tricksy, like tricking kings into handshaking and doing different things and tricking kings. And they got killed for it. It's like, you converted me to the gypsy burning bush. But it wasn't really a burning bush because it was somewhat a temple maintained with true lordship. And when the good lordship loses, it becomes a burning bush and dominated by Babylonian merchants, such as yourself in these days, Francis. Babylonian merchants. Frankie, I was down in Waterford, Frankie, and you probably know the Mann boys very well, PJ and us. And they witnessed lots of stuff around me, and there was lots of things going on. And by 316, they thought I was amazing. And by 316, they were actually coincidentally very on the ball in this case, and that's what made it even worse. So they became very special by believing that I was very special. They had a resonance in heaven, basically. I'm a heater bee. They resonated with the heater bee. Now they've all since set against me and encouraged others to set against me in a mutiny of my life and orrery in my temple. It's a big nightmare, Frankie, and you're not helping. So yes, these Mann people and the Rose World, Francis, I'm sure you know, because these are all Christian sodomites. Not so much as yourself, but probably copying yourself and exploiting Christ heavily. So they were when I found them. I have destroyed so many cults and trends in this world, and I've only gained enemies. Because they feel like they look stupid afterwards or something, and they all slag each other all the time. Like when I showed up, it was the French were terrible. Quipping, and constantly quipping. It's like the Satanic revelation. You're just making humans look really stupid and petty. But then again, you are French, aren't you? But anyway, Frankie. It was surfing in between a good temple and a burning bush temple, and it clearly fell into a burning bush temple because in 500 AD the sun disappeared. The Roman Empire basically became Christianity because they knew it was going to encompass and consume the whole earth, so they just decided to get in control of it best way possible through good lordship or through Babylonian merchants. What they went, Frankie, with good lordship, didn't you? Now, I'm not sure if you're a Methodist about this or you're actually sincere about your devotions to Christianity or to Christ. True lordship. Geez, John Hughes, and this warrior, this temple that destroyed and wiped out all the other temples and rebuilt them. I've heard it done this a few times. I've wiped the whole temples, destroyed them, and started again. So I don't know. There probably was a good point. It's not great now. So yes, when you have a burning bush, Francis, and we have an Ahab and a Jezebel, and this is what Jesus had to destroy. And what's fascinatingly about it that you're advising us to read the book of Elijah, or Elijah, and you don't see this happening around you. And I see you entertaining Jezebel all the time. I see you constantly entertaining Jezebel. Every time I look to you, Frankie, you're entertaining Jezebel. It's Miley Cyrus in this case, but it's an amalgam of people. But they call it Miley, but it's mainly Miley Cyrus. And as Ahab Rockefeller trashed man in Florida or New York that you seem to be colleagues with or submit or pontiff of Christianity submitting to anybody other but the Lord. I don't know, Frankie. So, yeah, I've sent emails to you, or info at Vatican. As I was saying to you, so this is your Rose World, Francis. These Christian sodomites, Euro trash, and Miami and New York, and Florida in particular, and Rockefellers and Rockheim, they found me first. So they probably found me before you did, Francis. And probably lied about it by the time I got to you, because you visited Ireland to try and settle this, or do something about this, I'm fairly sure. And you didn't do anything about it because you didn't, they lied or whatever, PJ lied, and Declan and Thomas, man, all these stupid, like, you were praising them in my ovaries, and you were going through with PJ and stuff, and then the Scarlet Wives, they attached to me as well, Francis. You've all fornicated with, there was a Lollipop and Orla and all these people that they've married me to. Yeah, you're not looking great, Francis, when it comes to being a Babylonian absolute merchant. Anyway, if you want to do your gypsy thing, either in method or sincerity, what you did was you got on the good side of the good Lord. So you work with me, Frankie, is what you're obviously meant to do. A very affordable little ashram somewhere in fucking Italy or Greece or something like that, where I could have visitors and read a Bible. I actually probably think I need to travel. I think I can stay in the same place for 2 days or longer. I'm fairly certain you understand this predicament that I'm speaking of. And do me no harm, and you'll do as I say, and you'll profit greatly by both of these. So if you want to do your little gypsy Roman trick and take control of the burning bush and make it a unified temple, then you just work with me and you give me my little affordable ashram, some gin, Lenin said God is a constant, or concept, we use to measure our pain. It's a good depiction that the philosopher friend he had from university, or his friend, gave to him, because in the book of Job we do see this as a genealogy of God, that God it was a godless time, and we see God strike Job down and make him suffer loads through Satan, make him suffer till he believed and respected or appreciated the very blatant reality and supremacy, or not supremacy, but glory of God. So it's a good point. But I, in a great Protestant sense, I could be sitting on my sofa, and be drinking gin and tea with my lovely Japanese wife with amazing cheekbones, and I'm like, oh man, it's good, God is good. So you can find God in happiness of a situation, like playing in a field with your children, and like you're just touching, you're like, oh, you're very certain of them. So I like to say alcohol is a constant we use to measure our pain. Well, I never used to drink back before 1999. 1999 was 2000. I didn't drink back then at all. Alcohol is a constant we use. Sleeping Under Juniper and Wishing to Die, Francis, your favourite book. Sleeping Under Juniper and Wishing to Die. And he wasn't exactly Jewish, but he knew more than all the Jews. Ahab and Jezebel, and he was confronting in war with Ahab and Jezebel. And he cursed all of the history of Israel as well, just like Elijah. And he went to the place, and the Lord said, what are you doing here? Why are you here, John? You're over there. You're a kitty date rapist. What are you doing here? And there's great confusions. And so rest assured, go out there and you'll see lots of hurricanes, tornadoes, and devastations and floods. And be assured that the Lord is with you. And that happened, in the first year of reaping, of sowing. So Joseph's been in the well, Frankie Capisha. Joseph's been in the well for 7 years. 8 years, 9 years now. I gave the warning. I emailed your info at Vatican. Apparently, Italy, but I think Switzerland get those emails or something. Or I forget who gets your neighbours that you trust so well, Francis, with your emails. Memory. When I get my memory back, Francis, you'll get your Poe back. You give me mine before Poe, Francis. That rings a bell. You'll give me mine before Poe. Where'd your Poe go? Why is he dancing? Yeah, Frankie. I reckon Francis's home got flooded and washed away. Coveting my wife. Or alleged was. And I don't believe you've read the book of the Revelation of Jesus Christ either. To my understanding, I don't believe you've read it. Maybe it'll give such a pain in your belly that you can't handle it and you might die. As it does. Give you a sick stomach to read it. Because it's a sickening truth. It's like, oh God, your spirit just realised the truth about a matter. I can give you a pain in the belly. It's a wonderful book, though. So, read that, Francis, as well. Elijah, it is your home, Elijah, and the gospel truths, what you really need for the good lordship. I've explained this to you now, the leader of Christianity. The Rockefellers are like eliciting confessions all over the place and stealing sheep, basically stealing sheep away from the shepherds of Christ through a misfunction of confession. And I don't believe even you understand the celebration of confession as it is with the good Lord. I don't care where you've been, what you've had to do, because I know God knows. And if you think I can make you suffer, then God knows. Yeah, I actually believe Francis to be some sort of devil worshipping swine anyway. He's some sort of gypsy, I don't know. Allah Akbar kind of stuff, Terrible oblivion. You have a scarlet pontiff. What does that make all your bread? Scarlet. I wonder how that makes the church wine taste, Francis. I'd imagine church wine will start to taste a lot more like blood in bad times. That'd be a first sign, I'd imagine. Drinking cups of torment, Francis. And they have feasted on these delicacies for 7, 8, 9 years. Heaven is depleted, and the earth will be depleted, and this is why you will see famine as above, so below. You're harming heaven, and you will be destroyed. By the by, I am a component of heaven. Brian, I'm sure you know these things, Francis. And if that's why you do me no harm, because if you harm me, you're harming heaven in a way. And that is where coronavirus came from. I don't have to tell you again. I got smashed fatally in the head with like a brick or a hammer. And I was left in a very vulnerable situation for 20 months. Hughes lost a lot of protection. It didn't cause coronavirus, but it was an antecedent. Hughes lost a lot of protection on the earth. And when you've lost all the protection, you're very vulnerable to yourselves, to one another, as typical humans and wolves around you. And they culled everybody at one time. This mass disconnection was what made you all sick and weird and reconnecting, and everyone was terrified and had to stay at home. Ironic thing about it, if you was actually Christian and went outside and didn't care about it like most people did, it actually gets over. You wouldn't even notice it come and go. It's weird the way they put you on alert, and everyone had it on alert, because if you were Christian and just went outside and maintained loving unto thy neighbour, not doubtful or concerned about thy neighbours if they're lepers or something, it would have disappeared. It would have all disappeared. Which is weird, isn't it? He's had to be really Christian, and the Christian power would wiped it out very easily. It would have been reunited somewhat instantly within Christianity, and it would have been able to build up some neighbourly connections and stuff again, but at least you'd have Christ there to prevent the interconnections and sicknesses that were caused. So you do me no harm when you do as I advise humbly advise you, and you'll prosper in these things. That's why the office of Joseph prospered, Francis, and that's why every place, the factory, the shop, other shop, places where I've worked, prosper in that period of time. They always seem to do. They always kind of go off independent or expand and stuff after I work with them, and leave on good terms with them and kind of thing, stuff like this. And in the future, everybody's just going to want to have me over for soya tea and a smoke and a chat and a fist bump, and they'll leave on good terms. Everyone's going to want this. I mean, queuing up outside my door like in the Matrix, and all I want to do is cuddle up with Jesse Johnson. So anyway, Frankie, yeah, save a donkey on any given Sunday. It's been down the well now, which is your Christian potential. Maybe have a beer first if you're having trouble, mustering up some courage. I can reveal it as a practice inside of my like when I say like Killdozer goes straight to work and they're just Killdozer, but there's Justice Dozer. I can make the mess you might want, for instance. Like, I was very prudent in the first place. I'd read a gospel, you know what I mean? I knew what was happening. I was like, oh, okay, don't make the big gospel mess. No, not the mess of the gospel. It's not a mess, excuse me, but I was certain we dealt with it very eloquently and maturely 2,000 years later with these kind of circumstances that I've assumed happen very regularly in life, and you would, of all people, be very on the ware and look out for these occasions. Maybe I always assume too much. I used to love Judaism, but God, my body is just, yeah. Anyway, then I met one basically, and then they found me. My life was great up until 1999. My life was perfect up until 1999. That's why they're supposed to not break and mix altogether and come into business or commerce and all that stuff. Anyway, as I'd say, it's 12 over 12 over 12 so many times. It's like a big picnic blanket. Yay, and everyone sit down in the picnic blanket, Frankie, with the peppercorns, and the salt, and the Evol, and the Olay, and the black duct tape. And then, so I can easily go to the streets, right? And I can tell the world a lot of the truth. If you're not going to work with me, I could start working with, It's been a little mess, and I've been very prudent and somewhat prudent and self-censoring up until now, but I'd be gospel mish. I'm not exactly baptized. I'm not going to go baptizing, but I can go teach people how to wipe their own asses, and I can make people very easily immortal by being my friends and having these premises of understanding. I could go out to Cherry Orchard or something, as I said, it's my president. Or something. I can just go out to Cherry Orchard and make all those mad cowboys that go around in those cars and stuff immortal. And as long as I teach them premises about not harming their enemies, because there probably are very neighbourly people in these kind of places, I can make them immortal, And you can do lots of stuff without harming people and become very wealthy, powerful, and be immortal, and they won't be able to harm them. Gardaí won't be able to harm them or offend them or dominate them in any way. So I could go out to these places and make like 14 and 400,000 immortal cowboys. If you want them big mess, make a big mess of it. I was really hoping to something very simple like an ashram, Francis. An ashram, a Bible, some porridge. I live off a little, Francis, Just uses a painting in the Louvre, French is profane, I wouldn't speak it. Of Mr. John the Baptist with his foot in the river, and his tweed, his little reed rod, and it's a sequence of 4 paintings, and the 3 guys that follow are like Emperor Byzantine of his Cardinal Christian, blah 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 blah. And there's 3 massive basilicas, and they're all on lovely marble crap. So I know what I got ahead of me, Francis, And I'm not going to be sitting around as much as I probably would prefer to be sitting by the river. Going to be skateboarding all over that marble is what I'm going to be doing. Bring some of the, I have no friends. But, I used to have friends, I used to have lots of friends. Let them know what it's like to go skateboarding on like Vatican marble or Roman marble. Grinding over relics. looking at all these fucking French paintings, and they're like, sell it, feed the poor, sell it, feed the poor, sell it, feed the poor. This is a French, sell it, it's profane, sell it, feed the poor. Yep. So I'm not going to place a command on you. And I said, cool guys, it's like a commandment from your ignorance is harm, basically. I've said this to my president. Either you know it or not, you're ignoring the situation. And I emailed you exactly as with the prophecy of Joseph when it came to me. It's at year 7, before year 7, about 6 and 6.5, and I gave you good warning. And they were at 8.5 or 9 or something. That your ignorance is causing me harm. That Damien is sodomizing me and my family all day, every day. PJ, other gypsies, mainly Damien or Noel or Thomas. Thorn in my side. Tom and Max and Paul Feller. It is Paul Feller. And I noticed, like, you know, I was 7, I don't know how many years I was in, and I was, very passive and open-minded. But I did notice about 7 years, 6 or 7 years, like, man, I'm just going to say this, like, you're all fucking Jewish, pseudo-Jewish. I'm just going to say it, like, I didn't say anything like that, like, I was dealing with Rosenbergs, Rockheims, Vanderbergs, all of these boxy people, Goldstein or whatever, these for years, and I didn't say it. I didn't know. But then I just realized at one point, I was like, man, I just gotta fucking say it. These are all fucking somewhat or pseudoic or Jewish people persecuting me, hunting me, tormenting me, and stalking me, fucking raping me. Bible full of it, you know, hunting and killing the Israelites. Every day happened Jezebel times. There's been a lot of people coming to my country in the last 7 years, 8 years, Francis. You're not the only one that visited. You probably took a photo of me. I imagine they came here and stared. That's what they do. They come and stare and take a photo. Image of the beast. I shall not abuse my name. Take my name in vain. So your ignorance is causing me harm. And if in any way you cause me harm, it'll be done unto you for eternity. However you treat me is how you'll be treated for eternity. And you'll be ignored for eternity. Or you'll be overlooked for eternity. Or you'll be lost for eternity. And you'll suffer greatly. Like Damien and what's this little gypsy's name? Hubert, the deepest military expert. Sodomizing you and your friends and family for all eternity. In your ignorance. I see you, Francis, and you got lots of guys, you got lots of people to hold your robes and hold your golden things, and you got lots of staff, Francis, you know what I mean? I'm sure you have reliable staff. I hardly emailed the Roman Catholic Church in this country, and they blocked me after 1 or 2 emails. I applied for vocations twice. First time they said no, just go away. Instantly, does no go away. We'd know you. Yeah, we'd know you. And the other one didn't. But he advised me to advise my Marian devotions and such things. I learned a few concepts. I have a library full of books written by Christian priests. Get them for 50 pence a piece, and they're like men with doctorates. Do nothing but sit around reading all day. Very quick, clear mind. Yeah, some fucking wonderful works. See the Contemplation is pretty good. I don't know. Fuck Frankie.